Is a running Diamondback ball club, and he's a guy that even though he has given up 5 runs in each of his last 2 starts against the Diamondbacks, he's been lights out. 3 starts, 2-0 overall with an earned run average down 2. And you see Johnny Cueto, the last 3 outings that he has, he pitched a very good game in Kansas City against the Royals. 6 innings of shutout baseball right there. And then the last couple of games against another more interleague games against the White Sox and then the Blue Jays, he had some bumps in the road. 5 runs in each of his last 2 outings. I expect Johnny Cueto to rebound big time tonight.
Take a look at the defense for the Reds, brought to you by Ford. Nix, Dickerson, and Bruce in the outfield. Richard, the start at third, as we mentioned. Harrison at short. Phillips and Votto on the right side. Cueto and Hernandez, the battery. To lead things off, Felipe Lopez, and he looks at a fastball away, and this game is underway. Diamondbacks have had a hard time, a very hard time, winning the day after Dan Herron pitches a game. 2-0 now to Lopez. In the prior 15 starts made by Dan Herron, the following game, the Diamondbacks are 1-14 in those games. 1-14. Here's a 2-0 on Felipe Lopez, fouled out of play. Now, we thought that we were told that Dan Herron pitched a game where the game was called after 3 innings. Our statistician Supreme Mark Wagner looking that up and saying no, that has not been the case with Herron at all. Perhaps it was a game after Herron started in which they're saying on the Arizona TV side the team is 1-13 rather than 1-14. Bottom line is they've won 1 game the day after Dan Herron pitched.
And they've been outscored something like 88-40 in those ball games too, Tom. And I don't know if there's really a way to explain it, but if you tried to explain it away, you got to figure, number one, the ball looks very small when Dan Herron throws it, number one. That means the next guy coming in there looks like a basketball. And number two, I think that there's probably an emotional letdown the day after Dan Herron pitches. He gives this ball club their best chance of winning all week long. And when he doesn't pitch, you know, you got to figure that they're going into the ball game with a little bit of an attitude like, uh-oh, we better get some miracles going our way in order to win this ball game.
Well, not a good start for Johnny Cueto. He walks the first batter of the game, Felipe Lopez. Lopez has 6 stolen bases in 8 attempts. Cueto coming off that very disappointing outing. I think everybody would agree, as good as he has been so far this year. In fact, his last 2 starts have been subpar at best. That one bunted by Drew, foul. The Reds gave him the big lead his last time out, 5-1. But then he gave up 4 runs with 2 outs in the bottom of the 5th inning. He wound up getting the win when Joey Votto led off the 6th inning with a home run to break the tie, and the Reds bullpen nailed it down. The start before that had a big lead against the White Sox, then gave up 5 earned runs and 10 hits and couldn't even get through 5 innings in the game.
You know, those are the kind of starts, Tom, that if you're a starting pitcher and you look at him at the end of the year and you say, boy, those were 2 guaranteed wins, although he did get a win in one of them, that I just gave away. You know, you get staked to a 5-run lead and you have the kind of stuff that Cueto has, you should at least be able to finish that off.
And you notice right from the very beginning of this game that Cueto's body language is just not all there right now. It's taking a lot of time between every pitch, and almost would appear to be, not saying that he is, but at least his body language appears that of disinterest right now. 1-1 to Drew, and it's in there, a strike.
Yeah, you made a point last night. I thought it was a very valid point about the difference in radar guns here. That last pitch by Johnny Cueto, 76, breaking ball, obviously, but his fastball only at 88, 87 on our gun. Still only on the gun here, not even 90 miles an hour yet. We're used to seeing Cueto working at 92 and above. That one will do it.
2-2 to Drew, a .251 batter with 5 home runs and 31 runs batted in.
And I say that because this is part of the maturity of Johnny Cueto this year. He's realized that he can pitch and he can win without extra effort on every pitch.
Struck him out on a high fastball for the first out of the inning. Well, one of the guns is not working. I don't know if it's our gun or the one at the ballpark. There was an 8-mile-per-hour spread on that last pitch.
Yeah, I can't believe that that's a high 84-mile-an-hour fastball that you blow it right by Stephen Drew, who's a good fastball hitter. So maybe we'll get Christian Roberts to turn ours off, or at least dial us into the one here at the ballpark.
Of course, Christian, our distinguished producer, is an alumnus of Syracuse University. It'll take him probably a series of 9 or 10 meetings with high-level broadcast associates to make the final call on that.
Phone calls, emails.
Justin Upton at .320, 14 home runs, 45 runs batted in. Who could forget Johnny Cueto's major league debut last year in the opening series of the season, where he gave up 1 hit and 1 run in 7 innings. Struck out 10 and did not walk a batter. The 1 hit and the 1 run, a home run by Justin Upton. Upton, in fact, in 6 career at-bats against Johnny Cueto, has hit 3 home runs. Good fastball in on him. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Upton got him again in September of last season out in the desert. And that's a long home run in that ballpark. Diving play by Hairston. He'll get it out at second base. Well done by Jerry Hairston Jr. to cut down the lead runner and get the second out of the inning.
Well, I'll tell you what, Jerry Hairston is just proving himself to be some kind of player, and it really doesn't matter where you put him. Third base, he's had some errors, there's no doubt, but still he's got the ability to make a superlative play every time a ball is put in play. That's a big out right there.
So the inning will continue for Mark Reynolds. He's the Arizona team leader in home runs with 21 and runs batted in with 56. And certainly many like to point out the enormously high strikeout total for Reynolds. But the bottom line is his batting average is still .274. To go with those pretty good power numbers, real good power numbers. And that one hit a ton down the line, but it bends foul. You know, most of the time you see a guy strike out with a frequency that Reynolds strikes out, and you're talking about somebody hitting in the 220s.
Really kind of like David Wright this year. That when they put the ball in play, they're almost getting a base hit every other time up.
1-2 to Reynolds.
You know, the real roto heads keep that stat, which is the batting average of balls that you actually put in play. And we talk about that from time to time with Adam Dunn, who was a prolific strikeout hitter. But, you know, when he did put the ball in play, he was batting up around 400.
In the air, short left center field. Coming on to get it, Lance Nix. And after a leadoff walk, Cueto takes care of the Knicks 3 to retire the side. Reds come to bat against Jon Garland when we return. And Dusty's lineup has Chris Dickerson leading off tonight in center field. Jerry Hairston Jr. at short. Joey Votto at first. Brandon Phillips at second with Lance Nixon left. Ramon Hernandez catching. A ladder third of Jay Bruce, Danny Richard, and Johnny Cueto. Very good numbers in the career of Ramon Hernandez against Garland. Both primarily American leaguers in their careers. And Jon Garland, his first season as a Diamondback, things have not gone the way so far that he would like.
Well, he has really pitched a lot better than that earned run average of 5. He had several games in which he's had some blowouts. One in which he gave up 8 earned runs, 3 others in which he's given up 5 runs. And, you know, Jon Garland is a guy that, if you look at his game by games,
it's in the air to deep left center field off the bat of Dickerson. 1 pitch and 1 out.
He has really pitched well every other start, and that is almost true right on down to every one of his 15 starts that he's had so far this year. So if you're asking me what he did his last time out, that would be against the Texas Rangers, where he gave up 8 hits and 6 runs in 6 innings. Not a good start. You'd think he was due for a good one tonight, and he has pitched a good game in the past against the Reds right here at Great American Ballpark, but that was in 2006 as a member of the Chicago White Sox.
Yeah, the Reds really knocked him around when they swept the 3-game series in Arizona back in mid-May. Garland, in that start back on the 11th, allowed 10 hits in 3 2/3 innings and 7 earned runs. One and 1 to Jerry Hairston Jr. Garland has had a rock-solid major league career. 110 wins against 96 losses. A career ERA right at 4.5. And of course, he was part of that sensational postseason run by Chicago White Sox starting pitching in 05 when they won the World Series.
There's a lot of ways to gauge the value of a pitcher in a particular year. Nowadays, one trendy stat is that quality start. Told you that Johnny Cueto had 10 starts. He's having a great year, right? Jon Garland has 9 quality starts.
3-2 to Hairston.
But he is a guy that has to keep that ball down in the zone, and that's where really the Reds ought to be looking right now. Looking down, that's where Garland's going to be trying to pound at the knees and below.
Payoff pitch to the Red shortstop is fouled away. We'll do it again. Told you Dusty Baker had a meeting earlier this afternoon with his entire team, and it wasn't in the spaciousness of the Reds clubhouse. The meeting took place in the manager's office. And I don't know what the dimensions are in there, Chris. You have a better eye and a better feel for that than I do. I mean, what do you think? 20 by 20 maybe?
Maybe 15 by 20. Maybe 16.5 by 21.
All right, something along those lines. I told you had a good eye for that. The bottom line is all 25 players were jam-packed in there. And Dusty had made the comment. He said, look, when you're growing up as a youngster, you know, when mom and dad have something to talk about with the whole family, you're doing it at the kitchen table or you're doing it in the den, and we're going to get everybody together. There's a liner right at the center fielder for the second out of the inning. The Arizona defense is brought to you by Ford. Same group we saw here last night. Except, of course, for Jon Garland. And I beg your pardon, Chad Tracy gets a rare start over at first tonight, replacing Tony Clark. 2 down for Joey Votto. A .351 batter with 9 home runs and 37 runs batted in.
By getting back to that meeting.
In there, strike. Dusty Baker basically let them know they got 2 directions they can go. You're on July the 1st. Yeah, you're a game under 500, but you're 4 games out of first place in your division. Where are you going to be 21 days from now? The decision is yours. You want to be in the hunt? You want to be playing in front of big crowds and playing meaningful games the rest of the summer? You can make that happen in the next 3 weeks. If you want to keep going like you're going right now, you can play meaningless games come August and September. That's all that needed to be said. Jam shot roller to the second baseman Lopez, and the Reds are gone in order in the first. End of one, no score. Serious lawyers for serious injuries. Johnny Cueto has certainly carried the load by and large for what the Reds expect from him. You know, you turn back the calendar, Chris, in the month of June, and unfortunately the same cannot be said of the front two pitchers in the Reds starting rotation, Aaron Harang and Bronson Arroyo. One win, one victory from those two combined in the entire month. Not to say they didn't pitch some good games, they did, but one win between the two over 30 days.
You know, I saw that stat today too, Tom, and I was stunned to see it. I didn't realize it was. That hits you like a 2x4 upside the head, doesn't it? When your two top dogs in the rotation nail down one. If you're a team owner, you're thinking, I'm spending a lot of green. I'm pushing a lot of green towards those guys. You only hope for a better July and August.
Well, today we begin a new month, July the 1st. 2-1 account on Gerardo Parra. Rookie left fielder at 257, 3 home runs and 24 knocked in. And he takes a fastball high. Of course, Parra was called up to the major leagues all the way from Double-A when the Reds were in town in Arizona back in May. His first major league at bat was against Johnny Cueto, and he hit a home run. 3-1 pitch. Is ball 4, a second straight inning that Cueto walks a leadoff man. Center fielder Chris Young, who checks in at 197. 6 home runs and 18 runs batted in. He was 0 for 2 last night, but Reds pitching walked Young 3 times in the game. And really, as you pointed out, Chris, at the time, it was the bottom part of the batting order that created the most havoc for Bronson Arroyo throughout the night. Young walked 3 times. Tony Clark walked twice. The number 8 hitter had 3 hits and a 2-run home run. Even the pitcher, Dan Herron, was 2 for 2, including a solo home run. Well, you look up the game-by-game log, as we mentioned last night, for Dan Herron this season. And it is shocking after watching him pitch twice against the Reds this year that young man is carrying just 7 wins so far this season.
Well, he's leading the league right now, Tom, in a lot of categories. He lowered his earned run average. He was already leading the league last night and before last night. But he has 15 quality starts in 16 tries.
It's getting it done.
Yes, it is. I know a lot of people say, oh, well, what's a quality start? You've got to pitch at least 6 innings and give up 3 runs or less. That's an earned run average of 4.5. Nowadays, you take that out of most of your starters.
One and 2 to count on Chris Young. And a breaking ball is swung on and fouled back. That appeared to be a bit of a hanger by Cueto. May have gotten away with one right there.
Yeah, you know, and when that happens as a pitcher, what you can do on the very next pitch is say, all right, I gave you a hanger and you fouled it off. You didn't get on it. I'm going to give you a good one this time. I'm going to stay on top of it instead of working on the side of that breaking ball, just kind of spinning it up there. Young proved himself very tough to stay on that pitch when it's low and away.
One and 2, and there's a swing and a foul tip into the mitt of Ramon Hernandez. Second strikeout of the night for Cueto. And again, that appeared to be a breaking ball that stayed up in a strike zone.
It did. You know, I think he really fooled Young on the speed of the pitch rather than the break of the pitch. Right now, it does not look like Cueto's slider is working much at all as far as breaking down and away. That's one of those pitches, though, you need it as a pitcher. I mean, if you're Johnny Cueto, you can't say, hey, my slider's not working tonight. I'm not going to throw it anymore. You've got to keep going after it, working it, whatever you can. Stay stubborn with it.
Now Miguel Montero. 3 hits in the game last night, as we mentioned. A pair of singles and a 2-run home run. You know, batting average at .255.
It seems like, Tom, every time Johnny Cueto misses, he's missing up and away to a left-hander and up and in to a right-hander. That shows me that his front shoulder, his left shoulder, is flying open way too soon. Not staying on top of his breaking ball is also an indication of that. And when he walked Felipe Lopez to start the ball game on, every time he missed was outside, just like he's gone 2-0 in this count. So at this point in his career, you've got to be your own pitching coach. You've got to take that little circle that he does around the mound, pick up the rosin and say, all right, what has Dick Pohl taught me about trying to get my delivery together and be able to get the ball over the plate? Yeah, we've talked a lot about Cueto and his motion. He's got a good delivery. He really does. But sometimes when he starts falling off that hard towards first base, you're way out of balance. I'd rather see a guy kind of coming more towards home without falling off too hard to first.
3-0 pitch taken by Montero, and there a strike. Runner goes, swing and a miss, throw down to second, and out at second base easily is Potter. So they start the runner on a 3-1 pitch. Montero comes up empty, and they cut down the lead at second base.
One thing the Reds have done very well this year is to shut down the running game. Right now, Ramon Hernandez thrown out about 25% of the runners that attempt. Ryan Hanigan thrown out about 45% of the runners that have attempted. Overall, they've done a good job. And Cueto on the year has given up 1 stolen base, 3 caught stealings, and also rolled up some ground ball double plays. So he has been the best of all the Red starters as far as shutting down the running game.
Cueto thought he had strike 3 called on that 3-2 pitch to Montero. Instead, it's ball 4. But Cueto has faced 7 batters in the game and walked 3 of them. And there you see only Atlanta slightly better as far as throwing out base runners as far as just a total overall number is concerned than the Reds catchers. And now Hernandez is going to come visit Cueto out on the mound after ball 1 to Tracy.
You know, this has been a big learning year for Johnny Cueto, and boy, I think he's so much improved over last year. His work habits are better, his delivery is better, his tempo in the ball game is better. But last year, he really bounced around, had a good month, bad month. Last July was one of his worst months. He was 1 win against 2 losses. His earned run average was over 6. And I'm wondering if maybe a little fatigue didn't set in. And his last couple of games, he's given up 5 runs in each of them. I'm wondering the same thing. You know, sometimes you have to pace yourself, that, you know, or else you will let fatigue overtake you. Or you reach back and it's just not there anymore. So what you do is you try to throw harder. And when you try to throw harder, your front side flies open even more and more. And pretty soon you continue to miss over there on the third base side of home plate. And that's exactly what Cueto's doing tonight.
Chad Tracy is hitting .203. He's been a much better hitter than that, though, in his career when he's been healthy. He's come all the way back from serious injuries the last couple of years and now finds himself getting very little playing time. See, only 39 games this year, and most of those have been appearances off the Arizona bench. Another walk issued by Cueto. And again, Johnny just walking around the mound. And it looks like Dusty Baker's going to be the one to come out, and he's going to bring Steve Bauman, the assistant trainer, along with him. Perhaps that is why we are seeing Johnny Cueto not being Johnny Cueto-like to begin this game.
Yeah, it looks like he's got a tender back. With the, you know, he stretched a couple of times during the last few batters. He's taking a deep breath. He's taking more time between pitches, and I think he's got a little lower backache right now.
Cueto, during the entire month of April, walked 8 batters. 6 of those were in one of his 4 starts. In May, he walked only 12 batters, and it looks like he's going to stay in the game. He's walked 8, or did walk 8, in all of June.
Well, when you're a pitcher and your back barks, what you do is you try to change your delivery ever so slightly to avoid that pain spot. And he's just having a hard time staying over the rubber and keeping his front shoulder in because of his back.
No one warming up in the Reds bullpen. Cueto is now going to face the pitcher Jon Garland. And Garland going up there, first pitch swinging, fouls it out of play. So Garland, figuring he was going to see a fastball on the first pitch from Cueto, was going to try and do something with it. Quickly 0-2. Reds, as you know, already have one of their original starting 5 in the rotation on the disabled list for basically over 2 months now. Edinson Volquez, their lone all-star from a season ago. And Chris, you know, his road to recovery apparently is just getting started again after a setback initially. He is still a long ways away. I heard somebody say the other night, right after the all-star break, there is no chance that he will be back right after the all-star break. None.
There's a chance he'll be back after the All-Star break, but certainly not right after the All. Not as in immediately after. No way. I mean, he's just now throwing a little long toss. He's probably a week away from getting on a bullpen and doing some bullpen work, and then you're probably 2 weeks away from there from actually going out on the rehab.
There's strike 3 called to Garland. He did not like it. The inning is over. Cueto faces 5 batters, walks 3 of them, but comes away unscathed. Sports Ohio brought to you by your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. For a dealer near you, visit buyatoyota.com. By JTM, food, family, fun, JTM. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. And by Jeep, it's a new day. Have fun out there. Jeep. Well, I know one young lady having lots of fun here tonight. Rewarded for all the great work she's been doing here in Cincinnati. Sherry Friedman from Amberley Village. Many of you have heard us talk about People Magazine, along with Major League Baseball, at the All-Star Game are going to recognize individuals from every city in Major League Baseball for the All-Stars Among Us campaign. And Sherry Friedman, you are the winner and the representative from Cincinnati for all the great work you've done with Most Valuable Kids of Greater Cincinnati. What a great honor. Congratulations.
Thank you. It is a great honor. I can't believe I'm here.
How were you originally nominated for this? Because every city whittled it down to, what, 3 different nominees.
Correct.
How did you get in that group to start with? Do you have any idea?
My husband nominated me.
Really?
Yeah, he did.
So you guys get along?
Sometimes.
Okay, good. All right. So he nominated you. And talk about what it is that you do for the Most Valuable Kids of Greater Cincinnati. What is it?
Actually, my husband and I co-founded Most Valuable Kids of Greater Cincinnati in October of 2005. We're a nonprofit agency that distributes unused tickets of sports and cultural events to underprivileged kids. So if people have tickets that they can't use, they donate them on our website at mostvaluablekids.org. And instead of an empty seat, we put an underprivileged child in their place.
What a great idea.
Thank you.
How did you come up with that idea?
Actually, it started in Washington, D.C., and we thought, what a brilliant idea. It's a win-win for everybody. The ticket donor gets a tax deduction, the stadiums fill their seats, and most important to us is that an underprivileged child gets an opportunity that they would never experience without it.
There's a base hit in the center field by Brandon Phillips. So I would imagine, and correct me if I'm wrong here, I probably shouldn't assume this to be the case, but I would imagine, I mean, you get not only individuals who might have season tickets or extra tickets to an event or a sporting event, a Reds game, and then you'll also get, whether it be the theater or the different sports organizations that also come to your group. Is that right?
That's exactly right. We send kids to a variety of cultural events as well as sports events. Individual ticket donors can donate their tickets on our website, and as well we partner with agencies such as the Reds and the Bengals to get kids in the seats.
MostValuableKids.com is the website.
.org.
I'm sorry. Of course it's .org. You're going to the All-Star game as the representative from Cincinnati. When did you get the news that you were going to be the representative from Cincinnati?
I got a call on Friday, and I was sworn to secrecy, which for me is very difficult because I had a lot of wonderful friends and family and colleagues and MBK recipients who voted for me, and I was busting at the seams to share the news, but I kept quiet. I didn't want to lose this opportunity, so it's been really exciting to share the news with everybody.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Are you a baseball fan?
I am.
But you grew up, you said, in Detroit.
I did, and I actually went to a lot of Tigers games when I was a kid and grew up down the street from Frank Tanana. So.
Oh, really? Okay. So you're a big Tiger fan even now? You're allowed to admit it. I mean, it's okay.
Sure.
Everybody grew up.
The Reds have won my heart. So.
There's a broken bat, one hopper, and it looked like Brandon Phillips slid on the wet dirt, and it almost stopped him from getting in the bag before the flip was made to Stephen Drew.
I thought Brandon may have hesitated a little bit because he wasn't sure whether that ball was going to be caught on a fly or not. As it was, it short hopped Felipe Lopez at second. Really nothing Phillips could have done about that.
So Brandon cut down at second, 1 out, 1 on here in the bottom of the second inning of a scoreless game. We're joined by Sherry Friedman, who lives out in Amberley Village and started the organization, as she mentioned, in 2005 right here in Cincinnati. Most Valuable Kids of Greater Cincinnati. And again, it's mostvaluablekids.org if you would like to, if you have tickets for anything. I mean, I would imagine it could be 2 seats to the symphony or a concert, whatever the case may be. And if they want to give kids an opportunity to see something like that, then they can get on your website and go from there.
That would be wonderful. We have a lot of deserving kids out there who don't get the chance to leave their neighborhoods very often.
Where do you find the kids? I mean, if somebody's watching a game tonight and maybe they work with an organization of kids that would like to be, part of that group that benefits, how would they do that?
They actually can go onto the site as well. There's a location that they can click to become an MVK recipient agency. Our recipient agencies need to be 501c3 tax deductible agencies. They need to benefit underprivileged kids 18 and under, and they need to be able to provide their own chaperones and transportation.
Reds start the runner. Hernandez, a ground ball to short, 2 away in the inning.
Sherry, you were on the field tonight. You spent some time with the first base coach, Billy Hatcher. What was that like?
It was incredible. I have to say it was a surreal moment for me. My son was down there. Oh wow! My son was with me, and my husband and my mother-in-law was down there, and I kind of don't remember anything other than Gapper trying to get me to dance with him.
Yeah, we saw you dance with Gapper a little bit.
It was a little embarrassing, but an honor nonetheless to be out on the Reds field, and there's so much history here.
So you're going to go to St. Louis. That's going to be, of course, on national television, international television on the Fox network. The All-Star game will be in St. Louis. That'll be on July the 14th. The president's throwing out the first pitch that night, and there you are, Sherry Friedman, standing on the field. You look like you're nervous about it already.
I am so excited. I'm emotional about it. When I heard the national anthems down there tonight, I got excited, and I'm going to be there with my parents and both my sons and my husband, and proud to be there representing Most Valuable Kids.
Well, we're proud of you.
Thank you.
Absolutely, and all the great work you've done right here in Cincinnati. MostValuableKids.org, the website, and we wish you nothing but the best. We're going to be watching for you on TV that night on Fox. Have a great trip.
Thank you.
Your husband, your folks, and your 2 boys. It's going to be a great time.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to it. I'm proud to represent the Reds. So
and remember to root for the National League, because now that it means something as far as home field advantage, you never know. The Reds may be in it. They may need that home field advantage.
I will root for them.
All right.
Be sure.
Sherry, thanks so much for the time. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. It was nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Great to have Sherry Friedman from Amberley Village with us here today. She is the Cincinnati Reds organization representative, as Major League Baseball People magazine have put together. And many of you have voted. Many of you probably voted for Sherry. The All-Stars Among Us campaign, which recognizes individuals who are serving their communities in extraordinary ways. 2-1 the count to Jay Bruce. Runner at second, 2 away in the second. No score in the game. 2-2. Well, it's nice to have her up here with us. She is just going to have a ball there in St. Louis, Missouri.
You know, Tom, I immediately, upon knowing that she was going to come up, I looked on their website. They have helped already, I mean, dozens and dozens of agencies and sending underprivileged kids a lot of different venues. I mean, they send them to everything. It's really a very impressive organization, of which I did not know a thing about. And I'm glad I do now.
Indeed. And now the whole country will know about it.
A quick little meeting right there as Miguel Montero wants to go out and talk to his pitcher, Jon Garland. You know, the more and more that this count begins to even up, and it's 2-2 now to Jay Bruce, Montero may have just said, hey, remember, you got Danny Ricard on deck. You got Jay Bruce right here, who's got, 16 home runs? Do not make a mistake.
Two and two to Jay Bruce. A long look back. And it missed inside to run the count full.
Now that's his go-to pitch right there. You know, when a few years ago when Jon Garland came here as a member of the Chicago White Sox, he threw really sinking fastball and curveball, and he's pretty much scrapped his curveball for a sinking fastball and a cutter. And that last little cutter goes down and into left-handers, and that's been a real go-to pitch for him.
See the numbers on a full count for Bruce this season. That one's in the air to right field and easy for Upton. The inning is over. 1 hit, 1 left. We play 2. We are scoreless. on left center field. If a Reds player hits the Tundra or the Tundra sign out in right center field, in tonight's game, Bob Clifton of Owenston, Kentucky, will win that Tundra. Register for your chance to win during an upcoming game at your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. End of 2, no score. Arizona without a hit against Johnny Cueto. But Cueto has walked 4 of the front 9, including the leadoff man who bats for the second time. That's Felipe Lopez. Only 2 Arizona batters have put the ball in play. A walk and a strikeout to start the first inning. He had a fielder's choice ground out by Upton, a fly ball by Reynolds to end the inning. And not a single batter put the ball in play, though 5 came to the plate in the second inning. A walk, a caught stealing, a strikeout, back-to-back walks, and then a strikeout to end the inning. This one down the left field line, slicing foul.
Felipe Lopez having a career year for a guy that is a .265 lifetime hitter, and he broke into the major leagues back in 2001. That was with Toronto. A year later, he was picked up by the Cincinnati Reds and played parts of 4 seasons with the Reds, and he was hitting down the low to mid 200s back in those days.
Off the leg of Cueto, it ricochets to Richard. That'll be a base hit for Lopez, and hopefully Cueto's all right. He appears to be just fine.
And he stays back very nicely. And if you want to describe the way that Felipe Lopez hits, he hits with his wrists. He really doesn't have a lot of body movement. He's got a very strong hands and wrists, and he just kind of throws that bat head. He can be a very dangerous hitter. A good combination of speed and power from time to time. Although his stolen base totals have gone down recently, he does have 6 stolen bags on the year.
Now Stephen Drew, who struck out his first time up, puts down a bunt, and it's a beauty. Cueto will pick it up, and it looked like he never got a grip on the ball, and somehow, some way, had enough on it to one-hop it to Joey Votto to get the out. Give Drew the sacrifice, pushing Lopez in a scoring position.
Well, if you've got a bad back, this is not exactly the kind of exercise that you want to do right there. Good pick at the other end by Votto, but it didn't really look like Johnny Cueto had his footing real good, and he didn't put a lot of back foot onto it. He got out over his front foot and just kind of threw it all arm right there.
Now Justin Upton, he bounced to the shortstop Hairston, who made a great play in the hole at short to get an out on the lead runner at second. Slider in there, strike 1-1.
For a lot of sliders tonight for Johnny Cueto. Has not been able to control his fastball.
There's a good fastball in the outside corner. Maybe his best fastball of the night.
I think you're right.
Came back with another fastball. That one at 95 miles per hour, but it misses low and away. The Diamondbacks got very good news today, encouraging news anyway, from their former Cy Young Award winning right-hander Brandon Webb, who of course was born and raised, still makes his home down the Ohio River in Ashland, Kentucky. Webb, who led the league with 22 wins a season ago, has made 1 start for Arizona this year and has been bothered by a bad right pitching shoulder. Well, apparently he made a whirlwind tour, seeing 3 different doctors across the country, wondering would he need surgery on that shoulder, and apparently all 3 told him no. But at the very earliest, Brandon Webb not expected to return if indeed he does it all this year. until the month of September. And we certainly wish him well on his road back. He is one fine young man.
Well, you're not kidding about that. Miss seeing him when the Diamondbacks come through. One of the high spots is getting to visit with Brandon Webb.
Down the right field line, out of play.
You know, I read the story about him visiting all the doctors, Tom, and the interesting thing that I saw in there was the fact that he mentioned, Brandon Webb did, that one of the doctors said to him, "You mean the club wouldn't sign you to a multi-year deal because of this?" And he was referring to what the MRI showed, which was a little fraying, I guess, of some kind, not very significant at all. And you talked about that a little bit last night, where Danny Herron was extended in the middle of his already long-term deal, but they declined to do so to Brandon Webb.
Upton gone on strikes for the second out of the inning. Well, you know, that doctor, I always like to say, it's like you and me sitting up here and talking about signing this guy or not signing that guy. It ain't our money.
Yep.
And it ain't the doctor's money. And right now, Brandon Webb, unfortunately, has pitched one game this season.
Yep. I guess the doctor more interested in the copay.
I think you're probably right, because they made that decision based on, I'm sure, some information they may or may not have had last season. Want to know to Mark Reynolds. Fastball inside. He checks his swing and did not go around. How about that?
That's a first. I always thought that'd be a great giveaway, though. And you could probably, you know, you probably have a Guinness World Record. If you had a full house here at Great American Ballpark and gave away toothbrushes and toothpaste, ding, 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 Procter & Gamble, and
I was getting ready to say we have a company here that could probably handle that.
And everybody brushes their teeth in the 7th inning. You'd have to have a Guinness World Record of that, wouldn't it?
I would think you're right. And just think of the overall dental health of Greater Cincinnati.
I know some kids that brush their teeth with cotton candy.
That's about right. Or would like to, anyway.
Oh, yeah.
2-2 to Mark Reynolds. Runner at second, no score in the game, and a fastball misses inside. It looks like here the last couple of batters, Cueto's starting to get some life back in the fastball.
Yeah, you know what? We've seen that in the past, Tom, where he throws, you know, in the high 80s, low 90s in the first couple of innings, and all of a sudden he kind of clicks in. Hopefully that's the case tonight, that whatever pain he's had in his back has subsided.
3-2 pitch got him swinging, and that'll end the inning. Cueto has struck out 5 in the game, allowed 1 hit, no runs. His team will bat last of the third in a scoreless game. Come on down to Knockback Nats Friday at 6 o'clock for your chance to be a part of Reds Live and get your question answered on the air. Join the fun at Knockback Nats. That's this Friday, July the 3rd at 6 o'clock, and that is on the corner, or roughly off the corner, of 7th Street and Vine downtown. The exact address, 10 West 7th Street. You going to be down there before the game on Friday night, Mr. Welsh?
I'm going to give it a shot. You don't think that would be excused from any pregame activities we might have?
I don't know. We understand there's a mighty powerful sponsor that's interested in even adding more to your repertoire besides a great sponsorship from CBTS and Tech Talk.
We already got a call on the toothbrush idea.
I didn't hear anything about a toothbrush idea as far as your segment was concerned, but I understand there's a few things in the works, and I know you're not at liberty to talk about any of them right now.
We're working on it.
Indeed we are. Hard. Richard, bouncer back up the middle. It took a high hop on Felipe Lopez and finds its way into center field. That'll be a tough error if they give one to Lopez. That took a terrible bounce.
Yeah, it took a really bad hop. It was hit fairly sharply, too, by Danny Richard. Took one hop in front of the plate, and then another one just about 6 inches off the grass right there with tremendous overspin. And that's what caused that ball really to take off, almost an AstroTurf type hop. A hit all the way.
Well, you would assume that Richard would be a motivated player facing Arizona. After all, they were his original team. Bunt attempt by Cueto is fouled off. Assigned originally by Junior Noboa, who has run the Arizona Diamondbacks Latin American operations for quite some time. In fact, going all the way back to the start of the franchise. And then he was traded to the White Sox, was Richard, in 07 before being acquired by the Reds along with Nick Massett in the Ken Griffey Jr. deal last July. Cueto again fouling off, trying to advance a runner with a sacrifice, and he's in an 0-2 hole.
Thank you.
Cueto with a pair of sacrifices so far this season, trying to put down a third. And that was not well done at all. Well, when the Reds get it done with an RBI this season, that means another $25 from Shakely goes to the Reds Community Fund. Shakely, it's done. Brings Chris Dickerson to the plate. He flied out to the warning track in the deepest part of left center field on the very first pitch thrown by Jon Garland in the bottom of the first inning. A lot of players for both teams, a lot of standing around and watching this game, moving at roughly the speed of a glacier right now. That one's down and in. 1-0 on Chris Dickerson.
Always practicing that changeup grip. Good night to be a concessionaire.
1-0 the count on Dickerson. Paying a lot of attention over there to Danny Richard at first base. That ball hammered down the right field line. It will go to the wall. Richard on his way to third. They are going to wave him around. Here comes a throw by Lopez, and the runner is out of the plate. Now Mark Berry taking a gamble there. Justin Upton had already thrown the ball. It left his hand from right field just as Richard was hitting the third base bag, and it looked like Richard was having a hard time getting from third to home.
Well, he really was, and you see him waved on right away by Mark Berry, making a split decision, going in head first to home. That is never advised, and Richard gets up, and he's handling his left hand right there very gingerly after he slams it into the catcher's shin guard. And shoulder, actually, that's the way that Wilkin Castillo blew out his left shoulder, sliding into second base. He had surgery today on that shoulder, repair a torn labrum. They huddled around Richard in the dugout. Hope he's all right. Boy, if you're a young kid at home, I know that there's a must slide rule in most amateur baseball. Do not slide head first into home. There's a reason a catcher has shin guards, shoulder, chest protector. He keeps his mask on. It's like sliding into a fire hydrant.
So Upton to Lopez to the catcher Montero to cut down Richard, trying to score on the double by Dickerson. It's 0-1 on Jerry Hairston Jr. Fastball inside, even a count. On the ground to the shortstop, Drew. He'll throw, and that will end the inning. So the Reds get a couple of hits. They leave a runner on. We played 3, and we are scoreless. Who is the oldest player, known player, to hit an inside the park home run? Give you a little while to think about that. Johnny Cueto on the mound has allowed 1 hit. That was an infield hit, a one-hopper off his leg by Felipe Lopez, leading off the 3rd inning. Cueto has walked 4. He has fanned 5. And he'll be facing Parra, Young, and Montero in the Arizona fourth. Told you Milwaukee got beat earlier today 1-0 by Mike Pelfrey and the New York Mets. St. Louis has lost the first 2 games of their series against the surging San Francisco Giants. They were locked down by Tim Lincecum in the opening. Randy Johnson slowed him down in the win last night. And Matt Cain, who's pitching as well as anybody in baseball, will start for the Giants tonight against Adam Wainwright. And that game, in fact, just underway. The Cubs, meanwhile, losers against the Pirates last night in front of Pittsburgh 2-1. That game in the bottom of the 5th inning. Three and 1 to Lopez, who has walked and has that hit. Parra walked his first time up. Phillips to the glove side, 1 away. Well, you take a look at the National League Central Division standings, and this includes the loss earlier today by Milwaukee. So the Reds could pick up another half game and be 3 back with a victory. The National League Central Division standings brought to you by Honda. Now, Houston, that team that, granted, is a very different team than the Houston clubs that were going to the playoffs seemingly every year, if not every other year, for about a 5-6 year time frame there. And Phil Garner was the manager, but they're a team that, for whatever reason, has played great baseball in the second half of seasons over about the last decade, including last year when they fired Phil Garner, brought in Cecil Cooper. They have the 3rd best record in Major League Baseball from the time Cooper took over till the end of the year. But when he got the job, they were so far back that they got close but were never really a threat in the wild card race.
Well, they've got the basic ingredients of a pretty good ball club. I mean, if you get Roy Oswalt throwing the ball well, and he pitched outstanding the other night. Wandy Rodriguez is a pretty good number 2 pitcher, having a nice year of it. And they've got 2 superstar hitters in Carlos Lee and Lance Berkman. That's an exciting little club. They may be one of those clubs that might be in the market for a player here or a pitcher to bolster their bullpen. Hey, the Pirates are only 5.5 games out.
3 and 1 to count on Chris Young. Swing and a miss on a fastball up and in, 94 miles per hour.
I think maybe the timing of the meeting that Dusty Baker had with his team today, Tom, was that, there's a lot of people who follow the game that say July is the equivalent of Saturday on the PGA Tour. It's moving day on the tour, and July is moving day in baseball. Meaning that you're going to make it or break it in that month of July. The dog days seem to hit in, and this is when those championship ball clubs begin to find their stride.
Cueto gets his 6th strikeout of the night, the 2nd time he's fanned Young, and now he'll face Montero, who walked his first time up.
Of course, the other reason maybe Dusty had that meeting was to, without coming out and saying it to his team, but these 2 games against Arizona are winnable games. And I can't say they're must games, but those are expected wins. If you look at your schedule, yeah, you're going to lose a game that Danny Herron pitches. There's no embarrassment in that. But you really ought to take these next 2 games, especially here in Cincinnati, before you have the St. Louis Cardinals come in for the 4th of July weekend.
Montero, a good rip there to fastball at 95 miles per hour, and he fouled it back to go to 1-2.
Let's face it, these guys are, 16 games under 500? They're out of the race. I mean, at this point, there's some guys that are, looking at the offseason, looking to kind of pad their own stats, maybe a little salary drive in the second half. It's a lot different when you're playing for yourself as opposed to when you're playing for your team.
2-2 to count on Miguel Montero with 2 down and nobody on. Cueto rocks, kicks, and fires. And it's in the air, should in the inning. Nix coming on to get it, and that is that. Johnny Cueto, his first perfect inning of the night. Middle of the 4th, still no score. At the ballpark during the Paycor Business Day game happening tomorrow at 12:35. And by the way, drop off your business card at the fan accommodation station and you could win tickets to the next Paycor Business Day game. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS or go to reds.com. We have had very good crowds for all of the Paycor Business Day games this year, and I'm sure tomorrow will be no different. The weather forecast is just superb for really about the next entire week. Joey Votto, first pitch swinging, and he's a first pitch out. Time to answer our Aflac trivia question about the oldest known player to hit an inside the park home run, and the answer is Aflac. Honus Wagner, a Hall of Famer at 42 years young. And that was against the Reds on this date way back in 1916. And that was his only home run of the year. And you see his final home run of his major league career. That's good stuff. Ball one to Brandon Phillips after a fly ball to left field by Joey Votto on the first pitch here in the bottom of the 4th inning against Jon Garland. On the field tonight, as that one is off the end of the bat and in a short left field down the line. Parra a long run, and he'll get it right on the line for the second out of the inning. Former Pittsburgh Pirate great and Baseball Hall of Famer Honus Wagner. How about some of that video?
Wow, that is something else there.
That's a ball player right there. Reds have 3 base hits in the game. They didn't get their first hit off Heron until a 2-out single by Jay Bruce in the 5th inning last night. That one looped into short right field. Upton is there, and boy, was that easy. Right through the heart of the order. And not a single loud noise. 5 pitches to get 3 outs.
And want to talk about our friends down the road at the Kentucky Speedway coming up on July 17th and 18th. It is the Built Ford Tough 225. It is the truck race at Kentucky Speedway. And if you are a Truck Series fan out there, you know the name Rick Crawford. Since 1997, been with the same team, racing. Who are you racing with? Circle Bar Racing. Now tell me, yep. Now,
International Truck and Engines. We drive the Ford F-150s.
There you go.
Yep.
Now tell me about the pace of this game compared to the pace of your sport.
Well, it's all similar. NASCAR racing's about the same as Major League Baseball. When you leave here tonight, I don't see anybody sitting out in the parking lot wanting their money back. So, I mean, we're all entertainers here, and we enjoy our game that we play, even though I race, and these guys enjoy the game of baseball. But I have to say one thing. I came here tonight only noticing one name that I knew who he was on the lineup for the Cincinnati Reds, and that was Dusty Baker. And the reason I know Dusty Baker was he played with Atlanta back then,
yep.
And he played when Hank Aaron hit 715. And so
he was on deck.
And so anyway, I threw the first pitch out tonight's ball game, and I went over and got Dusty Baker's autograph. And,
check it out.
And I'm going to cherish that because Dusty was very nice to me. This ain't going to be the last time I'll be at the Great American Ballpark. I'm really having a great time. But July 17th and 18th, we'll be at Kentucky Speedway, and we're for the Built Ford Tough 225.
And if you've followed racing as I do out there, the Truck Series is amongst the best racing. And Kentucky Speedway is very conducive for it, right? You're going to have 2 and 3 wide racing.
It sure is. Kentucky Speedway's age to perfection, I call it. It's got the bumps in it. It's got the wide racetrack. And you see a bunch of crazy truck guys out there with the Built Ford Tough 225. And we're going to be probably 5 wide, 4 wide in some places. I seen a truck go across in front of me last year, and it was off the ground. And I said, oh no, and finally got by and all that, and I realized it was my teammate Brendan Gaughan. So hopefully this year my teammate won't do that, but we'll have a great race, put on a great show for the fans.
Well, Rick, we appreciate your time. It's good seeing you. And,
good time.
Hey, we hope to see you back here at Great American Ballpark.
I look forward to it.
All right.
I've been for a long time. Actually played golf with Johnny Bench.
Really?
Yeah, I'm a veteran racer, but I remember the Reds of yesterday and Charlie Hustle and Johnny Bench and all those guys. And now I remember Ken Griffey Jr. when he was here, and I wish him the best.
Wow, you really endeared yourself to Reds fans right there. When you drop a Johnny Bench and a Pete Rose, you are in.
There you go. That's good. We always remember the guys who were heroes when you were a kid. So those guys were really nice to me.
Absolutely. All right, it's coming up on July 17th and 18th. Go to KentuckySpeedway.com for tickets. And Tom Brenneman, Chris Welsh, how about that? Dusty Baker, one of his heroes, got an autograph tonight.
Hey, Jim Day, ask Rick if he's driving the truck number 14 in honor of the Pete Rose.
I don't think he's driving the truck number 14 in honor of Pete Rose.
No, that's off of Freddie Fryer from Beaumont, Texas, a long time ago. But then again, and when I started driving for my boss, we've been driving for Circle Bar Racing for 18 years, and my boss's best friend is A.J. Foyt. Well, everybody knows 14 was A.J. Foyt's number, and so it has some similarities in there, but 14's now my number, so we'll just go for that. Just a coincidence that one of the greatest baseball players ever, one of the greatest players that actually give it his all because he enjoyed the game, was number 14. So that's good. That's the way I feel about racing. When I'm out there racing next couple of weeks for the Built Ford Tough 225, I'm going to give it my all.
Just like Charlie Hustle did, where he had number 14. Guys, 14, tell you what, it's right in my wheelhouse. Pete Rose, A.J. Foyt, 2 of my heroes growing up. Tom Brenneman.
Well, we thank you, Jim. We thank Rick very much. I heard Rick on Lance McAllister's show today on the Sports Animal, and boy, he seems like a terrific guy. I mean, his interview with Lance today and that one with Jim, you can just tell he's the kind of guy you like to have as your neighbor.
Upbeat, energetic. Knows how to drive fast. Do you have any hankering to get behind the wheel of a car and take it around the Kentucky Speedway?
Well, I got to tell you, I'm having a hard time understanding. And I have not been out to Kentucky Speedway, although I have a sister that works out there. And I'm going to get out there if we're ever around and they've got something going on over there. I'd love to get over and check it out. The thing I'm having a hard time understanding, and maybe it's racing lingo and I'm not in tune with it, but if I'm driving around, whether it be a truck or a car, and I hear about bumps on the track, that doesn't sound all that cool to me. Or seeing a driver that I'm racing against in front of me in a truck who all of a sudden is airborne, that doesn't sound all that good to me.
Well, you need to drive around my neighborhood.
Well, I don't mean because they don't have paved roads. I'm pretty sure that the Kentucky Motor Speedway is paved, right?
Yes, it is.
But what does the bumps mean?
You know, I'm not sure what that means.
Okay. I'm going to ask Seg Dennison. Of course, he hosts the KOI, racing show on WLW every Sunday night. Very popular show. There's strike 3 called to Nettle in the inning. Cueto, all of a sudden, has retired 9 in a row since he gave up his only hit back in the third. Still a scoreless game. St. Louis Cardinals 3-game series presented by Kroger kicks off this Friday. For your tickets, call 513-381-REDS or visit reds.com. Our good friend Bill Seg Dennison got us straightened out in between innings. He came over from the radio booth and told us that bumps on the track, Chris, basically like bumps on the highway.
Yeah.
Wear and tear.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure a lot of you out there are saying, no kidding. No score in the game. A swing and a foul ball on a play by Ramon Hernandez. Well, Jon Garland has thrown 42 pitches through the front 4 innings of this game. Johnny Cueto, now granted he walked 4 batters in the first 2 innings, is over double that number. Cody Garland went through the 4th inning through the 3, 4, and 5 hitters in the lineup, needing 5 pitches to get the 3 outs. 1 and 2 on Ramon Hernandez. Ramon to be followed in the Reds' 5th inning by Jay Bruce and then Danny Richard. No runs, 3 hits, 2 men left on base for the Reds. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 4 left on base for Arizona. That ball hammered down the left field line, and it will bounce up against the wall. Hernandez on his way to second base. He better hurry. The throw is slightly offline, and it's a double by Ramon Hernandez to begin the Reds' 5th inning.
Well, he had a double last night, and it was a double over the head of the center fielder that got him his 10th double of the year, and this time he rips it right down the left field line. So often in the first half of this season, we've seen Ramon Hernandez go the other way, and on that particular bat, Garland worked him away, and finally got something that Hernandez could pull.
But now Jay Bruce, he becomes such an important batter in this inning. You have the number 8 hitter Danny Richard on deck, and Bruce tardy on a first pitch fastball dumps it foul off to the third base side.
You know, this really ought to feed right into the Jay Bruce's strength right here, because the two best pitches that Jon Garland has, sinking fastball that really goes straight down, not a lot of lateral movement away from a lefty, but his favorite pitch is a cutter. That's the last one he throws right in there, and that's a pitch that Bruce ought to be able to pull.
Nobody throwing in the Reds bullpen, and you might say, well, why would there be? Cueto is 3 pitches shy of 100 in the game. Your team has not scored a run. You're batting in the bottom of the 5th inning. And here you have a scoring chance, and his spot is due up 4th. Along with the fact that very early in the game, of course, Cueto was clearly having some problems with his back. But there appears to be a couple of players in Reds uniforms down there stretching in the bullpen area. One and two on Jay Bruce. Leadoff double by Ramon Hernandez, who leads at second base, and that fastball from Garland to Jay is down low to even the count at 2-2. Fly ball into left center field, and the runner will not advance. One away in the inning.
Kind of a loopy swing for Jay Bruce really throughout the entire at bat. You know, one of the things that Jay Bruce does, he holds that back elbow so high that the natural movement to get your swing going is to drop the bat down and kind of loop it through. Something that they've been working on. Disappointed with that, because that is a non-productive out. Look how high that elbow is back here. I mean, it's pointing straight up in the air, and that bat's going to come and loop around like that, and he really doesn't be able to drive the ball unless he gets a ball out over the plate about thigh high. Those are where his home runs come.
Now Danny Richard, the batter, is down a strike. After a brief meeting on the mound between Miguel Montero and Jon Garland, they're back at it to Richard with a leadoff double by Hernandez. He's still standing at second base with one away. Nothing at 2. Cueto, by the way, is in the on deck circle. I brought it up thinking that Bruce, of course, at the very minimum would advance a runner down to third. Arizona would have to make a decision on whether they want to attack Richard, who's gotten very little playing time, or put him aboard and bring Cueto to the plate with one out in the inning and runners on the corners. But you can forget about all that strategy after the pop up to center field. We're in a scoreless game here in the bottom of the fifth inning. Runner at second with one out. And Richard gone swinging. And now the pitcher will bat after a leadoff double, and there are 2 men out.
That's a pretty good curveball right there. We've not seen Jon Garland throw too many of those, mainly fastball cutters and sliders, but he took a little bit off that last one. And he is really peppering the inside corner of all the left-handers in this lineup. Low and in, usually the wheelhouse, but you get that ball about 4 inches off the plate inside, that becomes a strikeout pitch.
Now it's up to Johnny Cueto, and he taps it right back to the mound. So Ramon Hernandez led off the inning with a double and never moved. Rapid rewind. AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. The first face you saw in that package was Gene Bennett, the senior special assistant to the general manager, Walt Jocketty, as part of tonight's Ashland, Kentucky, Huntington, West Virginia Community Night festivities. The Ashland American Little League recognized Gene Bennett for his generous support. Gene, in his 57th season with the Reds, will receive a Dreams Come True plaque autographed by Ashland Little League alumni like Brandon Webb, former first-round pick and Major League pitcher Drew Hall, Major League umpires Charlie Rutherford and Greg Gibson. One of the legendary names, not only in Reds baseball, but really all of Major League Baseball history. In 2009 and back in January of this year, Gene received the Legends in Scouting Award from the Professional Baseball Scouts Foundation. What a guy.
What a gem of a guy. You talk about a guy that knows the game of baseball. You know, you need to join us when we go down there into Portsmouth in the middle of the week. in January to raise money for the Portsmouth murals. If you've never seen them, they're tremendous. Your dad came down last year.
Yep.
It was a hit as the big speaker, and you need to come down there, Tom. It's a great time, and Gene fills the place out.
Stephen Drew, a fly ball into left field, will chase Lance Nix near the corner. He's got it one away. Gene and his wife Loretta have been together for so many years. Oh, he told some of the names through the years in Reds history that Gene has signed. You go back to Don Gullett and Barry Larkin and Chris Sabo and Jeff Russell and Paul O'Neill and Charlie Leibrandt. The list goes on and on. Of course, every time Brandon Webb sees him, he says, well, why didn't you pick me? Swing and a miss by Justin Upton.
He probably turned his name in.
Brandon not only from, as we brought up earlier, Ashland, Kentucky, but attended the University of Kentucky. Upton has bounced into a fielder's choice and struck out. He's 0 for 2 tonight. Cueto has only allowed 1 hit and has really gotten off the mat from a shaky first 2 innings.
He looks like a completely different pitcher after about the first couple of innings, Tom. I'm not sure what clicked in for him, but it looked like his back was hurting. He wasn't loose. He was disinterested, as you mentioned, and ever since that time, he's turned it up a couple of notches.
Well, when you consider the first 10 batters of the game, 5 of them reached against Cueto, 4 on walks, and then their lone hit, the 1-hop liner off his leg by Felipe Lopez starting the 3rd inning. Since that time, not a single Diamondback has reached base. Johnny's retired the last 10. One and 2 on Upton. Swing and a miss. Hernandez will make sure. And that is now 8 strikeouts in a game for Johnny Cueto. 11 in a row he's retired.
Yeah, back-to-back strikeouts against Justin Upton. Got him on the same pitch both times, too. It's a slider down and away. This one down in the dirt. And that's what the ability to throw your fastball by a hitter early in the count will do. It gets that guy a little bit anxious. He cheats to catch up with the fastball, and you drop that slider on him.
Now Mark Reynolds, who has flied to left and struck out. He has 21 home runs on the year. And we are in a scoreless game here in the top of the 6th inning. Upton and Reynolds look to be the 2 guys that Diamondbacks will try and build their franchise around as far as position players go. Stephen Drew was very much in that mix until injuries really slowed him down part of last year and for about half of this year. On the ground down to 3rd. A long throw for Richard. 1-2-3 again for Cueto. That's 12 in a row he's retired. for the Coors Light freeze cam. And when thrown behind Chad Tracy, that'll get your attention. The Coors Light freeze cam is brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. Top of the order for the Reds as they come to bat here in the last of the 6th inning against Jon Garland. Johnny Cueto, 6 innings of 1-hit shutout baseball. But Cueto is up well over 100 pitches through his 6 innings. Garland at 57 pitches through 5. Now Dickerson has hit the ball very hard twice tonight against Garland. Flied out to the warning track in left center in the first, doubled to right in the third. Dickerson, the Reds' top hitter in the month of June, brought to you by Firestone, and he has his 2nd hit tonight.
Well, if you're going to be the top hitter on your ball club, you're going to hit line drives, and you're also going to have the flares fall in. And he gets one out on the end of the bat right there. Dickerson does, but the Reds reach their first runner in this inning, and he's got speed at first base.
Well, Mark Reynolds, the Arizona third baseman, already a couple of paces in on the grass over at third, believing Hairston is up there to bunt. You know, standard baseball strategy calls for bunts in situations like this, but sometimes baseball managers, Chris, it's my opinion, they box themselves into believing in the theory rather than what they're actually seeing in practice from their team. Meaning, when you have a team that is not hitting, and I mean not hitting for the better part of a month and a half, when you're giving away outs in a game, I think oftentimes you're doing your club a disservice. I mean, everybody agrees that theoretically you bunt with a 2-hole hitter after your leadoff hitter singles in a scoreless game in the 6th inning. But in practice, how much offense can you count on when you give away 1 out in an inning from a club that has proven it's having a hard time getting hits?
Well, your other options would be just to send the runner on a straight stolen base, maybe a hit and run, or just let it play him straight out. But the problem is with Jon Garland, he is a prolific ground ball pitcher. He's had a few fly balls tonight against the Reds, but he's a guy that keeps the ball down. You run the danger of hitting a ball into a double play. And I think the Dusty Baker is thinking, you know what? We know we're handicapped offensively. And we know that we struggle to score runs. And he's just trying to do whatever he can to get a runner in scoring position. Or in the case of last inning, trying to get a runner onto third base.
Jon Garland has induced the 3rd most double plays among all major league pitchers going back to the 2000 year. Which would tell me you hit and run.
That's what they did.
That's what they did there, and they advance a runner. Yes, they traded out, but sometimes you never know if you're going to find that hole as opposed to just straight sacrifice.
Yeah, I like the sacrifice with the pitcher at the plate, and I like the sacrifice in a situation where you have a high strikeout pitcher who is very hard that you got a chance of missing the bat and run yourself right into an out. But when you've got a ground ball pitcher like this who is a contact type pitcher, Jon Garland is one of those at this stage in his career. I think I like the hit and run. And I think after 1 strike, Dusty Baker did not want Jerry Hairston to foul another one off and go 0-2, and now you really can't do anything at all.
How much will Joey Votto get to hit in this at bat? Clearly the best hitter in the Reds lineup. A .388 batter with runners in scoring position, and there's a base open. The Reds' leading RBI man is Brandon Phillips in the on-deck circle, but he's a right-handed hitter.
And he already has a hit tonight. I don't think you want to really pitch to either of them. But I would be surprised if Garland gives Votto a lot to hit here. Because if you're Jon Garland, you're thinking, all right, if I happen to lose Joey Votto, I've got Brandon Phillips up there who will hit the ball on the ground. I'm a good ground ball pitcher. And you still just need one ball in play to get out of the inning if the team can turn two.
No score, runner at second, one out. 0-1 Novato. And a little flare into shallow center field. This ball is going to fall in a hit. Dickerson streaking for the plate. He will score on a run-scoring bleeder by Votto to give the Reds a 1-0 lead. Great base running by Dickerson, who knew right away that ball was going to fall.
Exactly right. You check your outfielders before every pitch, and you know when that ball comes off the bat. He takes a look around and says, there's nobody going to field that. ARA comes in and gets it on one hop, not nearly in time to get Dickerson. So good base running right there, and a couple of flare base hits in this inning are responsible for the one run the Reds have been able to get.
And great base running by Votto as well. That throw is coming home, which had no chance to get Dickerson at the plate. And Votto never slowed down, and he now stands in scoring position for Brandon Phillips. So the Reds up 1-0 here in the 6th inning. Now Brandon Phillips' overall season average is at 270. 271 after the one hit tonight. But when he steps up there with runners in scoring position, it's a different ball game. A .329 batter this season. Hit off the end of the bat, foul, 1-1.
Hey, Reds fans, for great tasting food and family fun, pick up JTM Philly kits, burgers, or delicious barbecue from your favorite grocer. JTM, food, family, fun.
When are they coming up? I mean, we got the 4th of July weekend coming up. You've been telling me for 2.5 months they're coming up.
Well, they came out to feed the crew the 19th. 16th. The 16th of July. Are you on the calendar then?
I'll take a look. That pitch taken inside, I believe I would be. If I'm not
it's pretty hard to follow you
probably
around.
Against Milwaukee, right? Off the top of my head, right after the break. Count me in.
You got it. In fact, I'll count you in for 2 since you missed last year.
Thank you. And if it's free, it's for me. I'll have 3 if you don't mind.
Now you sound like your dad.
That's right. You got to learn from somebody, right? In the air to right field. Upton will get there. And Votto back to the bag. There are 2 away in the inning. Now Lance Nix. Votto, the run scoring single to break the scoreless tie here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Nix is 0 for 2, has bounced out and popped up to Upton in right field. Fastball down and in. Badly on that breaking ball, or the cutter inside on him, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike on Nix.
It has been a long time since I've seen a right-handed pitcher so proficient in pitching left-handers inside the way Jon Garland has been tonight. I mean, he just almost tells you where it's coming, and he throws it in there, and the lefties have been unable to either lay off of it or put the good part of the bat on it. Really impressive.
Ball and a strike on Nix. And it's shot right to the third baseman Reynolds to end the inning. But the Reds get a base hit from Dickerson. He scores on a single by Votto. We go to the seventh. Reds in front, 1-0.
Check the back of your Reds ticket stub for hotel savings and discounts on a great family getaway from Warren County. Explore the home of Kings Island, the Beach Water Park, and the Great Wolf Lodge. Visit Ohio's largest playground.com/Reds for more information.
You know, I got to tell you, Tom Candiotti, one of the broadcasters for the Diamondbacks, along with Richard Sines, who broadcasts their games in Spanish. Darren Sutton, television announcer for the Diamondbacks, who has his entire family here for this trip. All of them went to Kings Island today, and they came back and said, you know what, we've been to a lot of places around the country. They said without a shadow of a doubt, the best amusement park they have ever been to, bar none. And Darren Sutton and Tom Candiotti apparently have been to a ton of them.
Yeah, they sound like real roller coaster aficionados.
Yep.
I believe it. And we're spoiled right here in our own backyard.
There's no doubt about it. We've been spoiled by a very good Reds bullpen. There you get a look at Darren Sutton in the middle with a blue shirt on. Has his wife and 2 children in town on this trip. Mark Grace probably slept late today. Bunt on the first batter of the inning. Gerardo Parra against a new Reds pitcher, Arthur Rhodes, and a bunt single to lead things off in the 7th inning.
Pretty good idea right there. You get a new pitcher in, and Arthur Rhodes, you kind of get something going before the defense really has a chance to get in the rhythm defensively. Arthur Rhodes throws the first pitch. Parra, a nice bunt down the third base line. They really should have been coming to take that away, but that ball was right on the line. I don't think they would have thrown him out no matter what.
Johnny Cueto goes 6 innings, allows 1 hit, 8 strikeouts, and walks 4. All 4 walks came in the first 2 innings. He retired the last 12 batters that he faced. So now Arthur Rhodes, part of the headline act in what has been the best bullpen statistically in the National League this season. Rhodes and Weathers, the primary setup men in front of closer Francisco Cordero. Of course, you cannot leave out of that conversation the job that Nick Massett along with Daniel Ray Herrera have done. I mean, both of those guys have ERAs that begin with the number 1.
We did some tech talks today. Tom, CBTS tech talks with Daniel Ray Herrera. Wait till you see how he throws that screwball. It is something else.
He is having a great year.
He really is. The whole bullpen's having a great year. Take a look at this. They're first in the least number of blown saves. They've got the lowest bullpen earned run average. They're second in losses. They're third in home runs allowed. And they're fourth in the league in holds. That is simply getting it done.
0-2 to Young. And that one bounces up there and it gets away from Hernandez. And now Arizona has the tying run in scoring position with nobody out. And Rhodes kicking the dirt out in front of the mound.
Just a breaking ball that went so far in front of home plate that, you know, unless Ramon Hernandez just shifts his body and just tries to block it like a hockey goalie, that ball's going to the screen, and that's where it went. That's a catcher's worst nightmare, a breaking ball in the dirt, because when it's spinning so much and hits the dirt, you really don't know where it's going.
Broken bat, fly ball down the left field line is out of play. And some of you at home might be wondering, Parra starting the inning, batting from the right side. You have the right-handed batting Young. But Arthur Rhodes, or Parra, I beg your pardon, starting from the left side. Young, a righty. Montero, a lefty on deck. It doesn't matter whether you're right-handed or left-handed so far this year against Arthur Rhodes. Left-handed hitters are 5 for 42 against him. Right-handed batters against Arthur Rhodes are hitting .212. Two and two on Chris Young. Ball 3. Tying run at second, nobody out. 3-2 to Young. And that at bat got away from Arthur Rhodes. He was ahead of a guy who strikes out a ton. And Chris Young was in front of him 0-2 and walks him. I'd like to remind you, tonight's Mega Million jackpot up to $113 million. Well, now will Arizona ask one of the hottest hitters in their lineup right now, especially with runners in scoring position, Miguel Montero. Will they ask him to put down a bunt? He has one of those already this season. Ball 1, he was up there to bunt. Montero only 23 at bats this season against left-handed pitching, and he has 5 base hits, including a home run. A bunt, single, and a walk. Arizona with 2 on, and there's a beautiful bunt by Montero, and the Reds will get the out at first base. Well, you can't roll it out there any better than that. And now the Diamondbacks in business.
And of course, the whole idea is make that third baseman field it. And he gets the job done. Now they had Chad Tracy scheduled, and it looks like he's going to be pulled back.
Ryan Roberts stands with a bat in hand, a helmet on. I don't believe anyone is getting loose in the Reds bullpen, so it's going to be Arthur Rhodes to face Ryan Roberts. Boy, that walk could turn out to be a killer in this inning when you're ahead of a guy like Chris Young, 0-2. Roberts has done a nice job against left-handed pitching this year. A .316 batter. Tying run at third, lead run at second. And clearly a cross up there, or it appeared to be anyway. Ball one.
Really not much control over his breaking ball tonight. Arthur Rhodes is having a tough time finding his release point.
Strike one. Strike two on the inside corner, so Arthur ahead at 1 ball and 2 strikes on Ryan Roberts. Yeah, the pitcher spot due up next. Reds broke through with a run in the bottom of the 6th inning. That was all for Johnny Cueto. A very high pitch count for Cueto because of his struggles with command in the first 2 innings. The Reds bring in Arthur Rhodes. He's allowed a bunt, hit, a walk, a sacrifice. Has him at 2nd and 3rd with 1 out in the 2-2. We'll do it again. Rhodes trying to pitch out of a jam. Runners at 2nd and 3rd, 1 out. And he gets strike 3 on Roberts for the 2nd out of the inning.
What a great setup sequence for Arthur Rhodes in that at bat. He threw a previous pitch, a breaking ball that Ryan Roberts fouled back. And when you foul a straight back, you're a little bit late. Ryan Roberts, I'm not sure why he was late on the breaking ball, but he couldn't get around on it, which told Arthur Rhodes and Ramon Hernandez in bold print, throw me a high fastball right here and I've got no chance.
Well, Tony Clark will be the pinch hitter batting for Jon Garland. Garland pitched a terrific game here tonight. Goes 6 innings. Allows 6 hits, only 1 run. That came in his final inning. He did not walk a batter, and he struck out 2. But right now on the short end of a 1-0 ball game. So he will sit back and watch and wait and see what happens as the veteran Tony Clark, a switch hitter. I showed you his numbers last night. Far more productive this season left-handed than right-handed. He will bat right-handed, obviously, against the southpaw Arthur Rhodes.
And you got to figure that this matchup has happened before and many times. 3 for 9 Tony Clark is with 3 punch-outs.
And Garland both doing a number on this Reds offense. It's 2-0 on Tony Clark. 39-year-old very upset with himself out there on the mound.
39-year-old Rhodes, 37-year-old Clark.
Tying run at 3rd, the go-ahead one at 2nd for Arizona in the 7th inning. Swing and a miss through a fastball right by him at 95 miles per hour.
Boy, it's amazing that he can still, at this age, rear back and throw it in the mid-90s. Keeps himself in impeccable shape. And boy, he is all business when he gets to the ballpark.
No question about it. 2-1 to Clark. And that's just off the outside corner. He wanted that call from Hunter Wendelstedt, did not get it. Clark will come out of his shoes on this 3-1 count. And here it comes. Ball four, didn't have to swing the bat. Well, you got to believe that's the man that Arthur Rhodes wanted to get. I mean, let's be honest about it here. Felipe Lopez, as we brought up earlier, is having an outstanding season. Tony Clark rarely gets to play a whole lot, and you saw those numbers, what he's done as a left-handed batter, what he hasn't done more accurately from either side of the plate. And now you have the bases loaded against Felipe Lopez. So the bases are loaded with 2 away. The Reds with a 1-0 lead in the 7th inning. And the Diamondbacks in this inning have not hit the ball out of the infield. Here's a pitch. Ball 1 low. Arizona's been given 6 walks in the game so far tonight. And it should be noted those 6 walks have come in 3 innings. See the numbers in the career of Felipe Lopez with the bases loaded. They're very impressive. Now he's got them loaded with 2 outs here in the 7th inning, and now it's 2 balls and no strikes. We have not seen this from Arthur Rhodes all year long, and I don't think he's happy with Hunter Wendelstedt.
I agree with that, and that's why Ramon Hernandez is going out there just to try to settle him down a little bit.
One of the reasons Lopez is having such a good offensive year is because what he has done so far this season against left-handed pitching. He is batting a whopping .352. And of course, numbers generally get a lot better when you're hitting in a 2-0 count. And that's what Lopez is doing right here and right now. 2-1. I cannot believe Lopez took a strike. Can you?
Yeah, I can, because that pitch was about a perfect pitch. If you get that ball over the middle of the plate, he's hacking. I think, though, that you're threading the outside corner. In fact, Lopez thought it was a ball.
Swung at that fastball, and the count even at 2-2. Well, now this crowd, it has been a very quiet night for both teams offensively. Arizona's biggest threat of the night. For the Reds leading 1-0. Bases loaded 2-2. And it goes to 3 balls and 2 strikes.
I think that was a cross-up right there, because that looked like a cutter or a 4-seam fastball that just raced right across the plate and inside to Felipe Lopez. He'd been trying to get him on the outer corner. I think that's where Ramon expected it. He went down to that ball like he was maybe expecting a breaking ball.
3-2 with the bases loaded and 2 out. We'll do it again as he fouls it off to the first base side.
Boy, good old-fashioned Waco, Texas baseball right here with Arthur Rhodes just rearing back and letting it fly.
Rhodes trying to get out of it. 3-2 again to Lopez. In the air, hit hard to right field, but Bruce is there, and Rhodes into trouble and out of trouble. through with a run in the 6th inning, but not before having a chance after a Dickerson double, and Richard was thrown out of the plate in the 3rd. But then after Dickerson singled in the 6th, got into scoring position. Votto, a bleeder to bring in the game's only run. Then with a 3-2 count and the bases loaded, Sir Arthur Rhodes gets Felipe Lopez on the fly ball to right to end the threat and keep it a 1-0 game. Only 2 hits for Arizona. We mentioned they've received 6 walks in 3 innings from Reds pitchers tonight, but have been unable to cash in. Reds have left 4 men on base. The Diamondbacks have stranded 7, and now taking over on the mound. Sat out all of 2007 while taking care of his family farm back in Streator, Illinois, is Clay Zavada. And the first pitch he throws is a base hit into right field. There was an amazing story written about this young man. I believe it was in New York Times.
It was.
Back in the month of May, about all that he has been through with the passing, I believe it was, of his father. And then he became the man of the house, having to take care of the family farm back in Illinois, wanted to pitch, but obviously couldn't pitch and do that at the same time. He had initially been drafted by Arizona in the 30th round back in 2006, then left the team, was on the reserve list, and they just let him go at the end of 07. Pitched in the independent league, and then was signed by the Diamondbacks in June of 2008, and here he is in the major leagues at 25 years old. Got that Raleigh fingers-like mustache.
He's got that working, and he's got his pitches working too. He has yet to allow an earned run in 17 1/3 innings. Wait a minute. Do the Reds have that mustache copyrighted?
He's double dipping. He pitches for the Diamondbacks, but is never seen at the same time as Mr. Redlegs.
Oh.
You heard of Clark Kent, right?
Yeah.
There you have it.
So there's a phone booth around here somewhere too.
One and 2 to Jay Bruce. On the ground to first. Clark to Drew. Return throw. Not going to be in time to double up Jay. Johnny Gomes going to come up now and pinch hit. He will bat for Dan Richard. So I'm sure we'll see Giannis come into the game and play shortstop. And Jerry Hairston Jr. move over to third base. Reds have activity in their bullpen. David Weathers cranking it up. Gomes has been really the best Reds hitter over about the last 2.5 weeks. We gave you his numbers last night. Of course, he got a lot of playing time due to the Reds being on the road during interleague play. That one swung on and fouled back out of play. But even when he's had a chance to play in the field, he has still swung the bat very, very well. You go back the last 18 games, and Johnny Gomes, a .360 batter. I got to believe we'll see him in the lineup tomorrow against a left-hander, Doug Davis.
I don't think there's any doubt about it. I think at this point, Dusty Baker's hoping to face left-handers so that he can get Gomes in the lineup. They've had their best offensive nights when, of course, when they use the designated hitter, but he was the DH.
Two on Johnny Gomes. Runner at first, Jay Bruce. One out in the inning, and a fastball is high. Team in a count of 2-2. Told you Milwaukee lost its game earlier today to the Mets. So on this first day of July, the Reds have a chance to pick up a game in the National League Central. A win would put them 3 back of division leading Milwaukee. 3-2. Well, even though Gomes does strike out a lot, in a 1-0 game, do you start Jay Bruce even with a left-hander on the mound? We'll find out in a moment. No is the answer. It's grounded foul.
Well, if you started the runner at first time, you wouldn't have to necessarily go on the first move of the pitcher. That's a technique that a runner will use when they haven't figured out the pitcher's move. They just go on the first move and hope that he goes to the plate. They usually play it safe right here. Zapata's not wouldn't think a huge strikeout pitcher, but Gomes is a strikeout hitter.
3-2 to count on Johnny Gomes, and it's high ball 4, 2 on with 1 out here in the bottom of the 7th inning. We'll catch Reds baseball at half price this Saturday, the 4th of July. Again, it's a 1:10 start for the eReach.com family game. Now, when one family member buys a full price ticket, the entire family gets non-premium tickets at half price. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS or go to Reds.com. We remind you, as always, this offer is valid in advance of game day only. Mel Stottlemyre Jr., the Arizona pitching coach, out to talk with Zapata. Reds have 2 on with 1 out, batting in the 7th inning, leading 1-0. And Paul Janisch will bat for Arthur Rhodes, who works, yes, a shaky but nonetheless scoreless 7th inning. Strike 1 to Paul Janisch. Obviously, we're trying to fool those of you at home with trick work. That was videotape of Mr. Redlegs from about 45 minutes ago. That was not a live shot, because still no one has ever seen Zapata and Mr. Redlegs at the same time at the same place. 2-1 the count on Janisch. That is really unfair of our producer Christian Roberts and our entire crew, for that matter. We're trying to fool you at home. I beg your apologies. Line drive into center field, a base hit, and Jay Bruce, I don't know how in the world he thought the outfielder was going to catch that ball. We talked about Dickerson and his heads-up base running on a bleeder by Joey Votto to knock in a run, the only run of the game. That ball had no chance to be caught by anybody. And Bruce slammed on the brakes between second and third.
That's simply not preparing, not paying attention. And that's something that you can cure by watching at every pitch. You take a look at where the outfielders are, and you reinforce in your mind where they are so that you know when the ball comes off the bat whether it's got a chance to fall in or not. Bad base running.
Well, we'll see if the Reds can get him in. A A swing and a miss by Chris Dickerson for strike one.
I can't write that off of the fact that he's just a sophomore or a second-year player. If a kid you just brought up from rookie ball did that, you'd say, well, what are they teaching him in the minor leagues?
Of course, Chris Dickerson is technically still a rookie player. And we saw his base running to score the only run an inning ago as a runner at second. That fastball just missed.
Here's the play again we're talking about. The line drive base hit by Yadish. And that's right where Jay Bruce stopped before that ball hit the ground to take a look around and see the center fielder Chris Young coming in there fielding it on one hop. Not to say that he would have scored, but I have an inkling that Mark Berry may have sent him. Well, a base hit right here will break it open.
Two and two on Dickerson. Swing and a miss, strike three. They're two away in the inning.
Well, he's got a sneaky fastball, does Clay Zavada, and he throws it on the inner part of the plate right there, right by Chris Dickerson. Boy, the Diamondbacks have found something out about the left-handed hitters in this Reds lineup. They are just pounding them inside, knee-high all night long.
Well, here comes A.J. Hinch, and apparently that's going to be all for Zavada, who allows a pair of singles and a walk. He has a right-hander, Juan Gutierrez, who was throwing down in his bullpen. And we'll find out if that's the man he brings on to replace Clay Zavada. Scott batting here in the bottom of the seventh inning, leading 1-0. And Reds fans, would you like to go racing? Well, next week, watch the Reds on Fox Sports Ohio for the Kentucky Speedway Think Big Sweepstakes keyword. And you can win tickets to the Built Ford Tough 225 at the Kentucky Speedway. Watch the Reds and you can be a winner. Hard throwing right-hander Juan Gutierrez comes on from the Arizona bullpen. And he's on to face Jerry Hairston Jr.
About that, here's a guy that throws in the mid-90s, and his first pitch with the bases loaded is a breaking ball. My Might be a case of a catcher trying to outthink everybody.
1-0 to count on Jerry Hairston Jr. Gutierrez turns it loose and comes back with another breaking ball, and this one an air strike.
I mean, he's a strikeout pitcher. Gutierrez does not need a strikeout here, obviously. Got 42 of them in 37 innings.
Pop up, and this should end the inning. Reynolds underneath it, and that'll retire the side. So Bruce fails to score on the base hit to center, and it remains a 1-0 game. On Fox Sports Ohio, brought to you by your local Ford dealer and the Ford F-150 2009 Motor Trend Truck of the Year. By Aflac, we've got you under our wing. And by your Cincinnati Northern Kentucky Honda dealers, visit mycincinnatihondadealer.com for current offers. Fountain Square in the heart of downtown. And here at the ballpark, Reds at the end of 7 with a 1-0 lead. We thought it would be Jerry Hairston moving over to third. He does. We thought it would be Paul Giannis at short. He is, and now taking over on the mound. Having an outstanding year like his running mate Arthur Rhodes is right-hander David Weathers.
31 games now for David Weathers, and he has had an outstanding year so far. Earned run average down the low 2s, just like just about everybody else in that bullpen. Actually, a 2.5 earned run average down there is on the high side. Arthur Rhodes pitched the 7th. It'll be up to the veteran righty to pitch the 8th.
Part of the order for Arizona here, Drew, Upton, and Reynolds, lefty, righty, righty. Strike 1 to Stephen Drew, 0 for 2 in the game. Both teams missing on a golden chance in its half of the 7th inning. Arizona had 2 on, nobody out. After a bunt, had runners at second and third with 1 out before Rhodes struck out Roberts. He walked Tony Clark, but the inning ended on a bases loaded fly ball to right by Felipe Lopez. The Reds had the bases loaded with 1 out. Chris Dickerson struck out. Jerry Hairston Jr. popped up. Slow roll to Phillips. 1 away.
Little changeup right there for David Weathers to get the left-handed hitter to roll over on it a little bit. You know, Weathers he's had 3 complete days off. And sometimes for a reliever like that, that might be too much. It looked like he was overthrowing his fastball, couldn't get it in, so he decided to change speeds and drop the changeup on him. This guy's dangerous.
Breaking ball on the outside corner. Strike one from Weathers. This is only the third game. When you talked about the recent rust for Weathers, this is only his third outing over the last 12 days. Boy, that's a good looking pitch right there. He didn't get the call. 2-1 to Justin Upton.
He usually pitches in games in which the Reds win. In fact, their record in games in which David Weathers has appeared is 20 wins against 10 losses. Each of the last 7 games they won.
High fly ball. Easy for Jay Bruce, and that's a big out with 1 more to go. Biggest home run threat in the Arizona order. Mark Reynolds, 21 home runs, 4th most in the league. Will bat with his team down 1-0 in the 8th inning. You know, you talk to the people that see the Diamondbacks on a daily basis, and they'll tell you a guy like Reynolds is the kind of guy that throughout the course of a game, you'll get him out his first 3 times up. You might strike him out his first 3 times up. But he's come up with many, many big clutch hits. He's in a hole now at 0-2.
Yeah, he's up there looking breaking ball, too, knowing that you go over the scatter report of the opposing pitcher, and the report on Weathers is they'll try to get you with a fastball early, maybe show you a fastball, but if you're a right-handed hitter, chances are he's going to try to get you out with his slider. And he's guessed wrong twice. Probably guessed his slider right here. Looks like Ramon Hernandez wants to go north with a fastball.
That's what he does. You got to wonder if you're almost tipping him off. I mean, Reynolds has to be able to see this, doesn't he?
I hope not. I mean, that's pretty good peripheral vision if you can see behind you like that.
Came back with that slider off the outside corner.
Now, the whole idea of that pitch is just to change the eye level of the hitter. I mean, if you keep throwing the ball to the same spot over and over again, your eyes get used to seeing it. It's easy to gauge. But if you start moving it all around, it's tough to follow.
2-2 on Reynolds. He went around, and what an impressive 8th inning by David Weathers. 1, 2, 3 took him 13 pitches to carve up the middle of the Arizona lineup. perfectly by Arizona on defense. Back in the third inning on a double by Chris Dickerson. Danny Richard, the runner at first, trying to score. Upton, Lopez, Montero, Richard out.
Well, that is a strong throw by Felipe Lopez.
And to center field, that'll be a base hit by Joey Votto. So Votto a 2-hit night, including the only RBI in the ball game. It came back in the 6th inning.
Yeah, both of them jam shots, but both of them he keeps his hands inside the ball and he's able to get that ball in the center field.
Now Brandon Phillips. You know, one of the things you would think would be more a part of Votto's game, and granted he's only in his 2nd full year in the big leagues, but the stolen base is certainly something that some big league managers frown on from heart of the order guys. There's a double play off the bat of Phillips. And you can say, well, he's not going to do it now that he's in the big leagues. He's batting 3rd. But you look at some of Joey Votto's minor league seasons. In 2006 at Chattanooga, when he was the best player in the league, he stole 24 bases. The next year, before he got called up to the Reds in September, he had 17. Last year, he only stole 7 bases.
And was thrown out 5 times.
But this year, when he went on his minor league rehab, and it's the only reason I bring it up, is because here you have a guy that, if he had enough at bats, would be leading the National League in on base percentage. So obviously he's getting on a ton. When he was on his minor league rehab, he stole 4 bases.
Yeah.
That one popped up in foul ground, and that'll end the inning. Francisco Cordero will try and nail down a 1-0 lead. We go to the 9th. A 1-0 game if he doesn't make this play back in the 1st inning. As wild as Johnny Cueto was early on tonight, You may not know it at the time, but right now that looms as one of the more important plays of this game. So here we are with Arizona coming up in the 9th inning. It'll be Parra, Young, and Montero against Reds closer Francisco Cordero. 18 of 19 in save chances this season.
He is looking for career save number 230 is Francisco Cordero. And the slimmest of margins right now, the Reds clinging to a 1-0 lead.
Parra's walk, grounded to second, and a bunt single to start the 7th inning. And first pitch swinging on a Cordero fastball. It's fouled away, strike one.
Boy, they really got Jerry Harrison playing very shallow at third base, just trying to make sure that Parra doesn't even think about dropping a bunt down.
Oh, 2. Talked about this Reds bullpen, the #1 ranked bullpen in the entire National League. And so far tonight, 2 scoreless innings. And here is strike 3 called. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night for Mr. Parra.
Well, a couple of fastballs and a put 'em away slider right there. Actually, that ball's designed to have Parra swing at it. Ball dropped off the table. He thought it was low. Hang with him.
Now Chris Young, who has a lot of pop in that bat. He looks at a first pitch breaking ball in there, strike 1. Over 30 home runs 2 years ago for Young, and this one is in the air. Votto will handle it for out number 2 in the inning. So now Cordero an out away from a 1-0 victory for Johnny Cueto. And Miguel Montero, the batter. The Reds as a team had 6 shutouts in the first month and a half of the season. Swing and a miss. And you may remember they went through that stretch where they had a run the final days of April, the beginning of May, where they shut out the opponent 4 times in a week. Well, the last time the Reds had a shutout as a team, when Edinson Volquez blanked the Florida Marlins back on the 5th of May. 2-1 on Miguel Montero. Alex Romero stands in the on-deck circle. 3-1 on Montero. Swing and a miss. Wow, that is an unhittable pitch right there. Of course, Francisco got a break and Montero swung. This would have been ball 4. So now Montero waving at bat. Cordero a strike away and out away from a 1-0 win. Back to the mound. Cordero, the flip to Votto, and the Reds win it 1-0. A combined 2-hitter by Johnny Cueto, Arthur Rhodes, David Weathers, and Francisco Cordero. The Reds are back to 500.